Hello guys, good morning. It's Roddy again here. And today as usual, I'm going to be practicing my English. But for today, I'm going to talk about fluency and practice because they really go hand in hand. Alright. Now, just, a short story. I've met many people online, and I've also got friends who have all asked me this question. The question is, why, Roddy, why do you still practice English when in fact your fluency is unquestionable? That's to say, whenever you have something in mind, you can easily talk about them and share them with your friends or with pretty much everyone in English. Okay. That's to say, expressing my thoughts and ideas in English is easy for me. So, if you're going to think about it, the question in some sense makes sense because, probably in effect they're saying you're already fluent, and the purpose of practice is to be fluent, and now you're fluent. Therefore, there is no need to practice. Now, in a sense, again, the question makes sense if your analogy is something like, a sprint or a race. So you run from point A to, let's say, point Z, right? And let's imagine that every point A, point B, point C, point D, and so on and so forth, are what you might call the steps to fluency. Learning verbs, learning grammar rules, learning pronunciation, things of that sort, okay? And then point Z is fluency, for example, okay? So I am now in point Z, so congratulations, hallelujah. That's the goal. You're now at this peak, if you will. But that's not how I view English as a foreign language to me, as a second language. To me, it's more like a way of life, if you will. So, for example, how do carpenters become carpenters? What makes carpenters carpenters, right? Well, obviously, it's the art of carpentry and the practice of the art of carpentry. That's to say, if carpenters were to stop practicing carpentry, then they would stop being carpenters. Maybe they would just be, men who, love drinking or whatever. But they would not be carpenters anymore. That's to say, the art of carpentry, the art of carpentry and the practice of carpentry are things that make the carpenters carpenters. So, if that's our analogy, or if that's how I see fluency, then the practice of speaking in English fluently and the art of, or the craft of speaking in English fluently are things that I can't just, stop doing. Because to me, fluency is a process. It's an activity, okay? And I love it, okay? I love it, okay? I just love practicing English and sharing my ideas with you and everyone else that I meet in English. And so, because this is how I view English, I don't stop. All right, and that's what I tell everyone that asks me the question, Rodney, you're now fluent in English. Your English is peak. It's peak English. Like, why do you keep practicing? Well, that's the point. Fluency is practice. Okay, fluency is practice. Those two are inseparable. Now, I'm not saying that fluency is practice like A is A. That's to say, I'm not saying that the identity of fluency is the same as the identity of practice, because you could practice anything. You could practice anything else. You could practice carpentry or whatever. Well, what I'm saying is, while I do think that fluency, practice, the art of practicing English, is a necessary property and a functional property and a substantial property of fluency in English in this case. The art of practicing English is not an accidental property. It's not an accidental property of fluency in English. That's to say, practice leads to fluency and maintains fluency, but it is not fluency itself. Okay, that's to say, if you were to stop practicing, then you wouldn't be fluent anymore. Okay. There is no such thing as fluency or expertise or peak without the practice. That's just the way it is. And so I keep practicing English. Alright. As Aristotle would say, we become just by performing just acts. And we become courageous by performing courageous acts. And if that's the case, then we become fluent speakers of English by practicing fluency in speaking English. Okay, we become fluent by practicing fluency in our target language, and in this case, it's English. All right, so that's the only way to go. And and I don't even overthink it, because just like what I've said, I love practicing English. Okay, so I don't overthink it. Whenever I have something to say, then I just say it in English. Okay. So it's like a way of life, really. So so I just keep practicing. And if you love learning and practicing English, then go ahead and do it. All right. It doesn't matter if your English is C1 or C2 or whatever, because those labels are truly arbitrary if you're going to think about it. Like, who gets to decide who's C1 or who's C2, or what makes a C2 C2 or what makes a C1 C1. These are arbitrary things. There are no C2 level substances and C1 level substances that circulate the planet. They simply don't exist. They are collective myths. Okay? But fluency is fluency. Okay? So that exists. Okay? So yeah, so for insofar as I think that insofar as your English is understandable to the people that you are speaking to, then you're fluent. Okay, fluent. Now of course, grammatical accuracy is another story, and that has some problems of its own, because again, who gets to decide what the prescriptive rules are? Then obviously that's also arbitrary. But in most cases, especially in daily conversations, nobody really plays by the rules of prescriptive grammar rules, but we do operate within what you might call the descriptive grammar rules of English, and that's what really happens. And that's what that's what I do. Yeah, I don't overthink about the correctness or the perfection of grammar. I just speak and practice English. Is my English peak? I don't know. That's probably arbitrary too. But to me, I just love practicing English, and if people understand me, I understand them. That's good enough. That's perfection to me. Thank you very much for listening.